Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art and Scrap. It's almost Monday. Let's create. This evening we are going to be doing a layout featuring the Everday Skies paper. We're also going to be using the Everyday Arches stamp set. We're going to be using the On The Go paper pack, and yeah, we'll see what else happens while we're creating. So I hope you guys are ready to see some scrapbooking. And if you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. If you're watching later on replay, you can say replay or pop a comment. I love to hear from you guys. Sorry, just crinkling something here because I realized I forgot to grab something that I wanted. And so have you had a good weekend? I know some of us were on crafting together earlier today just for fun, and that's always a good time, right? When we can get together and just do some crafting with friends and make some pretty things. All right, now I'm just trying to find something that I thought I wanted, and now I can't find the thing that I wanted, but that's okay. So we're going to be creating a layout tonight, and I was showing you the On The Go collection when we did our little What's in the Box video from the new online exclusives. So On The Go is one of those online exclusives. It's sort of a travel themed paper pack, and it's got some fun stuff, and we did some creating with it during the online crop that we just had. If you didn't notice yet, I posted next month's crop theme just a few minutes ago, and so we are going to be exploring the Netherlands in the springtime because you know, if you want to see some beautiful flowers in the spring, that's the place to be. I see that Laura is joining us. Hello, Laura. And Jillian is here too. Oh, thank you. Yes, I actually need to redo them. Some of it has come off, but it is what it is for now. So for tonight's layout, we're going to start with a plain old boring piece of basic white, but plain old and boring can transform very quickly. And so we're going to just stick this down so it doesn't move around while we're crafting. Don't worry, that adhesive will come off later, and we won't need to worry about it. So we're just going to go ahead and stick that down. We're doing a 12 by 12 layout, and I was mentioning that we're going to be using the Everday Skies. Now, this is not a very good look at Everday Skies, but it's a lovely little 6x6 collection, and yes, you can scrapbook with 6x6. It has some beautiful sunsets. It has some beautiful nighttime skies. The back sides are lovely patterns. There's some beautiful daytime skies, and we're actually going to be using this pattern. I don't have much of this paper pack left because I have used it quite a bit, and I used it for a make and take at a friend's crop here in Brampton. So we're going to be using one of these, some of this particular design on our layout today. So Everday Skies, we're also, as I said, we're going to be using the Everday Arches stamp set, and all I really want from this are the two airplanes. And as most of you know, my kids, two of them, are heavily involved in the Air Cadets, and so we end up with a lot of things that involve airplanes. And so we're going to be using that. We're also going to be using the mini alphabet dies, which is a lovely go-to set. And let's get started. Okay, so we've got our 12 by 12 basic white on here. And just like I said, we're going to be bringing in those 6x6 pieces of the Everday Skies. I like this one. It's got a beautiful sunny day happening, nice little fluffy, you know, typical, you know, little kid drawing a photo or drawing a picture making fluffy white clouds in the blue sky. And I think it's just fun and cheerful. Now, this is not going to be enough. So I'm bringing in a second piece of the same pattern. So you can see it lines up. However, this is 6 by 6. And this one I have cut down a little bit. So this one is now 5 inches by 6 inches. And if I stick these side by side, you will notice that they kind of match up. In fact, they actually do match up pretty good down here. Like the colors seem to blend in very well. But then we get this little disjointed part here. That's okay because we're going to do some creative scrapbooking today. And we're going to hide that little join and make it all work. So what we're going to do with our pages, we're going to be adding some pieces of paper to fill in an 11 by 11 inch square in the center. So we're going to leave a little 1/2 inch border of our basic white all the way around the outside. So let's go ahead and start by adding some adhesive to these pieces. So like I said, this one is still a 6 by 6. And our second piece has been cut to 5 by 6. So if you were using a continuous piece of paper, you would want your paper to be 11 by 6 for this particular pattern. So I'm trying to put it about 1/2 inch in from the top and right hand side. Not using my ruler today. I'm just winging those measurements. Good morning, Karen. Karen's joining us from Australia, so it's morning there and considerably warmer. I can imagine. How's the weather today, Karen? We have had rain all day, so I'm butting those two right up beside each other to make a lovely fluffy cloud sky on my page. And then below these, I want to bring in some color, and I'm going to be bringing in something from the pattern paper. The one sheet of the pattern paper in this On The Go collection has these gorgeous tags. They're all different shapes, all different sizes, all the different coordinating colors from the collection. And the blue that you see here is the same blue that's used in Everday Skies. So we're mixing and matching different paper collections to create this layout, and I love that. I love mixing paper collections and just thinking about what colors there are in them. I know some people even take their kits apart or their paper packs apart and just go by color, and that really works sometimes. So for this one, we've got these tags, and I have fussy cut them out of the paper pack, and I've even punched out little holes. These ones I couldn't find my regular hole punch, so I used my X-Acto knife for it, but this one I had a little hole punch that was handy, so I punched that little hole out, and I just fussy cut them out. And what I'm going to use these for is I want to use these as photo mats for my layout. So that's why we're calling this put a tag on it, because I'm using photos from my son's trip to summer camp when he was a cadet. He's now an officer with the cadets, so he's aged out and has become first a civilian volunteer, and now he is an officer cadet. And so he went to Trenton cadet training facility, and he took part in the Basic Aviation Technology Aerospace course, otherwise known as BATA. And when you go to cadet camp, you need to label everything. You have to label all your clothes and your toiletries and your shoes and your hats and your everything. You have to put a label on it. So I thought it was kind of tongue-in-cheek to have labels or tags as my photo mats, right? Because you always got to put a label on it. Karen says it's 27 degrees in Australia where she is today. It's a little cooler. Nice. Ellie's asking a question about the chamois. Can you wash it with laundry without fabric softener? You know what? You probably could. I just rinse my chamois in the sink and just kind of scrub it against itself until it starts coming out clear. And that's all I do. And then you just let it dry and off you go. But I definitely wouldn't use fabric softener. You shouldn't use fabric softener with any kind of towel because then it doesn't absorb. Hey, Mom, nice to see you're watching. Okay, so I'm going to be attaching my photos to these. But in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of scooch them up here so you can kind of keep an eye on those. And we're kind of picking up the colors from this On The Go collection to add some cardstock to the bottom of our page. And I wanted to add a few colors in sort of stripes on down here. So I've got some crushed curry, which you can see matches that one. And this piece has been cut to 1.5 plus a little bit. It's like 1.5 plus a 1/16 more by 11 inches, and that's going to go here. And you know what? We might as well just stick it down. We don't even have to say it's going to go there. We're just going to stick it down there. And there we go. What I needed to do was I've already got 6 inches of my 11 inches that I need to fill, taken up with my designer series paper, my pattern paper, the Everday Skies. So I need to fill the other 5 inches to create an 11-inch square with some cardstock. And so 3 strips of cardstock do not equally break up into that remaining 5. So this next one is 1.5 plus like 2/16. It's just a hair less than 1 3/4. And so this is the pumpkin pie. So it's 11 inches wide and it's almost 1 3/4. We had to do a little creative math for this. Oh, I didn't turn the sound off on my phone. My apologies. So if anybody messages me, it's going to start sheeping. I'll turn that off in a second. Hey, Barb, nice to see you're watching. So we're going to butt that piece up against that one, like so. And then our last piece, I kind of fudged this one, if you want to say. The coordinating color with the On The Go collection, let me bring in something that will show you some of those colors. We've got this cute little suitcase that I also fussy cut from the designer series paper. And that color that you see on there is actually called Strawberry Slush, which is an old Stampin' Up! Color that's making a comeback. And so they included it in this On The Go collection. Now, I don't have Strawberry Slush, and so this is Calypso Coral. And I'm using the, I don't think this one's a double-sided one. I was going to say I'm using the dark side. But this is Calypso Coral, and you know what? I think it's close enough. I think we can fudge it because there's only a couple touches of that Strawberry Slush that's going to show up on our page. So this piece is about the same as the orange. It's just a hair less than 1 3/4. So let's go ahead and stick that down. Now, when I was putting these papers on here earlier, my brain kind of did a double take, and I had to use my handy dandy little Google search engine to Google candy corn. Can you see why I was Googling candy corn? Barb's like, I hope you're not on the dark side. You never know. Some days. This started to feel like candy corn was happening on the bottom of my page between the Calypso Coral, the orange. But then when I looked at candy corn, it was like orange and red and white. So I just squeaked by on not looking like candy corn. I'm going to pretend this is kind of like a sunrise, right? Because it was early in the day when we were headed out to go to the space where we had to all meet up to meet the buses to truck all the kids to camp. So we're calling this our sunrise and then our sunny day. No candy corn. Yes, Karen, ombre. We're making an ombre. Good word. All right, so we've got our background now all completed, and I want to kind of deal with these tags here. Now I'm going to be adding some photos on these tags, but I'm also going to add some string, because anytime I have a tag that has a hole in it, I always feel the need to have something. We got to deal with that. We can't leave it empty. So I have some of this Night of Navy thread that was part of the, now I'm going to quiz myself on collections here, Nests of Winter. You remember that one that we had it, before Christmas time with all the beautiful, beautiful birch trees and such. And so we're going to be using this. This is from that collection. So I'm going to make myself about a 12-inch piece of that. And what I want to do with this is I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to take the loop, and I'm getting little thready bits everywhere. And I'm going to put the loop from the front of my tag to the back, open it up, and put those two ends of the tag in here. And these are like luggage tags, right? Like when you fly on an airplane or go on the train or go on a bus trip, you always have to get the luggage tags. And so I thought they would be super cute to use as photo mats. So we're going to add some thread to all of these. And I'm just going to kind of guess here how much we're going to need. Let me see, how much is that one going to be? That one's going to be about 10 inches of thread. Again, we're going to put our loop from the front to the back. And the reason I go front to back with my loop is because when you pull that double end of the thread through, the little loop is now nicely going across from side to side in front of that. And it just, I don't know, it looks neater to me than having those two bits on the front. I'd rather have them like that. I don't know. Does anybody else have a preference which way their loops go when they put thread on a tag? Or is it just me? All right, you can see what I'm doing here with my thread. I don't think I said what I was doing before. I'm just taking my closed scissors and just using that edge of my scissors, which is also creating the little fuzzies, and running it down my thread. And what that does is when you take it off these spools, see how it's all curly? But then after you run it down your scissors, it's not so curly anymore. You kind of straighten it. It's like a straightener for your hair, I guess. All right, so this one's going to be a bit longer. We're going to use about 14 inches of thread on this one. Hopefully it's enough. We'll cross our fingers and hope so. And you may have noticed as I was turning these this way and that I've already got some adhesive on the back sides of these tags. There we go. And then our last one, we don't need quite so much. And it's got an offset circle, or an offset hole. It's on the side. We're going to use about 9 inches for this one. I'm doubling them up, so then when I do my measurement, I have to multiply it by 2 in my head on the fly. Thankfully, multiplying by 2 is not so hard. I am not a math genius. All right, last tag going on. And then I'm going to stick these down and I'm going to ignore my threads for a minute. I'm just going to make sure they're there, but I'm going to ignore them while I stick these down. They're then blowing away some of the floofers. Okay, so I'm going to peel the backings off of my first one. And I want to stick this one right near the edge, kind of up high. So we're leaving lots of nice space down here. And just stick that on there like that. Okay, we're just going to ignore that thread for now. Don't worry about it. And then we're going to come in with our second one. You may notice that I don't have my adhesive going all the way to the very edge. That's okay. If you are somebody who likes to pop things up, then you could, of course, add some of these with some dimensionals. And I'm going to overlap these just a smidgen, just like that. Let's see, did I leave enough room for my thread? We're going to overlap just a smidgen, just the very edge. And then let's take our next one. And people are messaging me or commenting on something. So my silly sheep in my pocket on my phone is sheeping away. This one's going to kind of go here. And this one's going to kind of hang out beside it. So we're going to overlap this one like that. Okay, now before I put this last one on, I got to stop my phone from making noise because it's just going crazy right now. And we don't need to listen to that during the entire time. I usually try to turn the sound off on that before we start. There we go. Okay. Now, before we go any farther, we're going to deal with all these little bits. So, we're going to lift our page. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull these straight up like that and pull them around to the back side. And for now, I'm just going to put a piece of washi on here to hold it in place. I may actually come back later with something a little sturdier than washi tape because I don't 100% trust my washi tape because this is the washi tape that I use for holding my die cuts down. And the reason I use it is because it doesn't stick that well. So it's not going to rip anything. So let's pull all these threads up and over the top. This one is just barely making it. There we go. I could have been a bit more generous with that one. Stick that one down. And what I might actually do is I'll get a piece of paper. And once we get all these on here, and I'll maybe use some liquid glue to adhere those to the back and then cover it with a little extra piece of paper. There we go. And then we need to add one more tag. Sorry, flipping back and forth is awesome for watching a video. Somebody's asking me a question. Monica, do you know them? Not. Do I know the knots? I know a few knots, like a slip knot. And let's stick this one on a nice little angle here. We're going to have our thread going over the top. And we'll pull this one. I want to try and keep my my pieces straight. So there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do later, once we're all done, is I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue just there and add a strip of cardstock on top and just glue it all down, and they'll be nicely sandwiched in there, and then it won't matter if I'm sliding it into a page protector. It won't grab and try to pull my little threads off. You always got to think about what's going to happen to your layout after you're done making it, right? Do you knot the string not to slip? I'm going to use liquid glue, but you could definitely add a knot if you wanted to. And then it wouldn't pull, like if you were just taping it on the back, you could put a little knot and then put your washi or whatever kind of tape you want to use, you know, Scotch tape, whatever. And then the knot will keep it from coming out from under the tape. So, but I'm gonna liquid glue her down. All right, so we've got that on there, and then I wanted to add in some pieces that I fussy cut from the paper and also one piece of the paper that came with this On The Go collection. It has, let me just grab it. I might as well show you instead of just telling you. It has cut apart cards. So this is one of the pages from the On The Go. The back side is this fun sort of hand-drawn textile-y looking pattern in the strawberry slush. But you can see here one of the cards, which is great for pocket scrapbooking, but also nice little journaling pieces. And I went ahead and fussy cut this little sign. And I thought it was kind of cute because when the kids go to the cadet training centers, they're coming from all over Ontario. And so it's kind of fun because they're always, you know, I'm from here and this is my squadron. So I thought it was cute to have this little signboard. And so let's go ahead and stick that down. I just fussy cut it out. And for this particular one, I did not leave a halo of the background. You may be able to see that here. I cut right on the edge of the design. And that was because the background, as you saw from that piece of the pattern paper, well, the cut-aparts, was blue instead of white. And so I thought, you know what, I'll just leave it the way it is and cut it right close. I'm going to kind of center it in here between the tags and the edge of my papers. And you might think it's weird that it's way up here in the sky, but we're going to ground it. We've kind of grounded our labels, our tags, by adding those strings. So we've given them a reason for why they're dangling in the sky like that. But we're going to ground this by adding in some of this fun luggage that I fussy cut out from one of the designer series papers from the On The Go collection. And if you were watching during the crop, you saw I created another layout and used some of this luggage too. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do, because when the cadets all arrive at the place where the buses pick them up, they throw all their luggage in those, you know, carriers under the buses, right? And then off they go. And when they get there, the people grab all the luggage and like chuck it in a big mountain. And then when they're coming home, the same thing happens on the edge of the parade square where they do their final parade. They make big mountains of all the luggage for each group of cadets. And the cadets have to go later and dig their luggage out. So I thought it would be kind of cute to kind of have the idea of that mountain of luggage happening. And so I thought we could kind of layer up these pieces like so, and kind of create that idea of a mountain of luggage. And then it makes our sign look like the post comes all the way down to the ground. And so that was kind of my thought process behind this. And so let's go ahead and we'll stick those items down. Again, we could be using dimensionals for this, but I'm going to keep everything flat today. So we're just going to tuck these in here like that. I like that they're different shapes. We have sort of a more traditional suitcase. We have this one that's like a duffel bag. Then we've got a rolly suitcase. And then also the backpack. So lots of choices. And that's kind of what it looks like when, when the cadets are going places. It's just random luggage. And there we go. Stick that down. And then there. This one's even got a water bottle stuck on the side, which they're always told they have to bring a water bottle that holds at least a liter. So there we go. All our little mountain of luggage ready to go. So let's bring in our photos. All right, so we have this one of my son and his little sister, who's much bigger now. And this was as he was getting ready to leave the house. And then we have this one of him and I in the truck, because we were like, of course, the first cadets to arrive, because punctuality is key. And so we were the first to arrive. We had to wait for quite a while before other cadets showed up and before the bus got there. So then here's a photo of Joshua waiting in one of his fellow cadets. He's got his big suitcase, which actually matches sort of the Calypso Coral color. And these have all been done to weird sizes, weird and wonderful sizes. And here he is waiting as the bus got the door open, ready to put his luggage on, ready to say goodbye. And I believe Bada was a 6-week course. It was either 4 weeks or 6 weeks. So he was going to be gone for at least half the summer. So that's kind of a big step for a kid, right? And then here's some of the other cadets. There's Joshua with his backpack. And they were all kind of, you know, excited and chit-chatty and whatnot. And then here's the group that was coming from our squadron going to this particular camp. A lot more went to different camps, but this particular camp. So we did a group shot, and I thought it was fun to kind of make them all fit inside these little tags. And yes, they're small photos, but this is going in his album, and he knows who the people are. So, you know, he doesn't need, he's young, he can see what they are. And I'm not going to be doing my own journaling on here. I'm going to leave that up to him. So I've cut these down so they kind of fit nicely in whatever the design is for the tag. So I'm not going to give you sizes because they're all weird and wonderful. And they probably won't make any sense for anything other than this. But just know that I cut them so that there's a little bit of the white as kind of a mat going around each one of them. I've already added the adhesive on the back, so I'm just peeling these off. And because I didn't put oodles of adhesive right to the edge, I can tuck them underneath and position them where I want them, hopefully. If I can get it straight. There we go. And I thought it was kind of fun. It's kind of just a very thematic type of thing. And if you were doing some traveling and maybe you take, I know when I was traveling in France when I was younger, we went to so many airports because there was an airline strike. So we took all these random photos of us like flaked out in airports. And so that would be fun on this kind of page, right? Where it's not make it or break it photos. They're not like landscapes that you want to see every detail. These are just, it's just for fun, just for him to remember who all went and just to remember the excitement of it all. Leaving home for a nice long trip to camp. Okay, I was just reading comments. Sorry. Had a brain moment there. Okay, now we need a title on here. And we're being very practical with this title. So we have the letters cut out from the mini alphabet die to spell out the exact details of what's happening here. And he went to camp pretty much every summer from the time he started. In fact, I'm pretty sure he did. From the time he started until COVID. And by the time COVID was done, he was pretty much aged out and became a volunteer. He was hoping to actually staff a camp this year, but he's got to get some courses in to be able to do that. So we've got BATA course, and again, BATA was Basic Aviation Technology Aerospace, and then he was at the Trenton. I got to make sure I spelt it right. Trenton. All the little letters. And it's called a CTC, a Cadet Training Center, which is actually, it's the Trenton Air Base. Base Trenton, I guess. They also do a lot up at Base Borden. So, but when the cadets are there and the part of the place that they use, it's called the CTC, the Cadet Training Course. Okay, so we're going to need our handy dandy tweezers for this process and some glue because we're going to need to glue these little letters down. And the easiest way I have found, I know some people use different products, things like Xyron or the little adhesive dotty strips and stuff, but I like to just tap in some glue, tap on my hand. And I'm going to use that nice break in between my two colors here to give me a straight line. We're going to see if we can do a straight line with our letters. We shall see. I'm probably going uphill already, but we can kind of adjust as we go along. Bata course, and I actually noticed that Bata course and Trenton CTC have the exact same number of letters and spaces. So I'm going to try and do where, you know, the two line up and end and start in the same place. So instead of trying to center them, we're going to try and do it this way, where they end and start at the same spot. So we'll see if we are successful. I need more glue. More glue. So the first line is okay. We just start at one end and work to the other end. But our second line, we're going to start at one end, and then we're going to start at the other end and meet where the natural break between the words is. So let's start on this side. And we're going to go a little bit lower, so we're not leaving the same amount of space between the join. We're going a little lower. So now I'm trying to line up with something above as opposed to something below. We'll see how good I am at that. I'm laughing at myself. If you can't laugh at yourself, then why not? Better laughing than crying. Okay. Trenton. Okay, now that we've gotten that far, we're actually going to start at the end, and we're going to work our way back, because the thing that's going to make it spaced out the same is the gap in between. Oh, I put a little too much glue on that one. I didn't tap it off enough. And it smooched. It smooched out onto my page. Trenton CTC, Cadet Training Center. And we'll just do this. This is how I get rid of excess glue. All right, so there we go. And I was going to see if I was interested. I'm not going to use the bees. Ooh, that could be kind of fun. Those ones are fun. I've also got these ones. I'm trying to decide on an embellishment. So I have these ones, which coordinate with the Adventurous Sky. They're like little rivets. And then I also have the itty bitty bouquet mix. So this would add a little bling here. And we've got all these lovely blues, which would go with sort of that azure afternoon blue in the sky. So while I'm doing a little bit of stamping here, let me know in the comments which of those two embellishments you think I should put on in here. The Adventurous Sky metal rivety things, or the bling bling from the bouquet. Okay, so on here I want to do a little bit of stamping with the Everyday Arches. I've got these two airplanes because, of course, we're doing basic aviation technology aerospace. So they learned a lot about airplanes and flight and the flight towers, the control towers, and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to stamp a couple of those, and we're stamping them. I know, this is nerve-wracking always. We're going to stamp them directly onto our completed layout. And as I have said before, I'm going to use some Memento ink. If you do this, know that it's one and done, okay? You have one chance to get it right. However, if for some reason the stamping doesn't turn out how you want, you can always just stamp it on a second piece of paper, fussy cut it out, and stick it right on top of where you stamped it in the first place, okay? So, you know, although it's a one and done, don't panic, okay? No need to panic. So we've got these little airplanes. I've got one on each of these blocks. We're going to ink them up. Try and get good ink coverage, because we're going to kind of have them as silhouettes on our page. And we're just going to stamp them. Ooh, that turned out so good. I I'm so happy. All right, now we're going to try with the little one. We're going to ink it up good. And we're going to stamp it over here like that. And then I think we might add one more. We're going to add another little one. And this time, I'm trying to decide if I want to put it down here or up here, but I think it makes a lot more sense to have an airplane in the sky. So maybe we'll put it right there. So this one will be going down. It's going down. And they all turned out. Hooray. So we didn't have to stamp or fussy cut. We got them all on there. Phew. Phew. Laura's agreeing. The planes are great. Awesome. Okay, so now what do we say about the bling? Which one do we want to see? Oh yes, the Barb is asking about using the ruler to attach letters either top or bottom to keep them straight. Do I know this technique? Do you mean putting your ruler across your page and sticking them down? Or, because I know a lot of people will take like thickers, those like a sticker one. And if you have a ruler, you can kind of line up your thickers right on the edge of your ruler. And then you just bring it over and then kind of tip it and stick the top of your letters and then pull them off. And that's another way that you can do it. I will do the one where I just kind of line my ruler up from side to side and then just put them individually along the ruler. And that works good too. Yeah. But yes, you can do that. You can also take a piece of washi tape and you can put them all on the washi tape or press and seal, for putting over bowls of stuff, press and seal. You can kind of stick them on there, put adhesive on them all, and then flip them over and stick them down. There's so many different ways. It's amazing. Yes, aligning the edge. Yes. Nah. Okay. Right. Yes. So you meant sticking them on the ruler. And I'm lining them up that way. Okay. So let's see. Maybe the best way to choose what kind of bling we want is to put some bling on here. And then we'll know. I'm kind of thinking that these shiny metal ones might be my go-to because, I don't know, it's a guy. We might not need bling bling, but these are kind of fun. And I think we can probably do that. And you know what? I think we only need 3 of them. They're nice and big. They're chunky. And I think that's all we need. I think we've got enough sort of other things happening. And because we have small photos with lots of things going on in them, that having just a clean look with the embellishments might be a good idea. So let's grab our adhesive. And this is always the hard part. Now, if you look at these rivets, let me see. Let me grab one. The back side has got like little rays coming out from the center. And yes, that looks cool. Oh, I don't even know if it'll focus. Let me put my hand there. That's why I always put my hand there, is because it'll help it focus. The little rays actually provide little channels for the glue to sit in, and it creates better adhesion with your paper and the glue. So that's why those little rays are there. Not just because they look pretty. They have a job to do. So let's go ahead. We're going to put our glue right on our page, and then we're going to drop our little rivet on top. I love these because they look kind of mechanical and kind of industrial, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I know they did a lot of work in the shop learning about all sorts of bits and parts of the airplane. And so I think this will kind of go along with the theme. Let's stick those on there. I'm kind of lining them all up so the points of the little hexagons are all pointing the same direction, because I'm weird like that. Hey Lynn, nice to see her watching. Yep, Sheila just using the glue. All right, so there we go. We have our completed layout using the Everday Skies paper, 6x6 paper, but you can see that we've hidden the fact that we have two of the same design. We cut some of it off on this side, so that made it look a little different so that it fit in our 11-inch span. And we hid that seam. The only little bit you can see is right up at that top corner, and that's barely there. So we did a good job hiding that. And then we added in our cardstock at the bottom with crushed curry pumpkin pie and Calypso Coral. We kind of fudged that color combination because it's not the strawberry slush that's in the On The Go collection. We used those fussy-cut tags from the designer series paper from On The Go to create a fun little gallery on there, and then fussy cutting from the cut-aparts and from the pattern paper to create our embellishments, a little bit of stamping with the everyday arches, and then our title done with the mini alphabet dies. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that come together, and if you feel inspired to create a layout like this, be sure to snap a photo of it and pop it in the comments where I post the photos of my layout, and then we can all see and be inspired by your artwork as well. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have some time to get creative and do something fun in your crafty space, and we will be doing another Stash Dash card making adventure on Tuesday night. Wednesday we have our We Craft Wednesday where we just get on Zoom and chat and craft, and our card making video on Wednesday night. So we'll see you for those. All right, have an awesome week. Toodaloo. Bye.